Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new version of CWPA Remote. Today, we have the extreme pleasure of interviewing the newest head coach in the CWPA, Tim Sherwood, who has taken over at Denison College, or University, I should say. So, Tim, how did you get into water polo?
Yeah, I learned to play when I was about eight. There's a summer league water polo, like in Seattle. It's like you have these like summer only swim clubs that have swim teams, and then they had a water polo attachment kind of at the end of summer. So learned how to play. First coach played at Stanford, so got really lucky. Got a really good like really great water polo education. And then I got hooked, and so as I got older, I started to take it more seriously. Started doing club, played in high school. And then went to Grinnell College, which is a small liberal arts college in Iowa, where I was on the varsity swim team and club polo as well. And took it pretty seriously for, being a club team and that was all self-coached as well. So, you'll learn kind of dip my toes in the coaching. Obviously, it's a little different as a player, but kind of just, learn how to like structuring practices,
Hmm.
it's just simple stuff like that. And then I helped coach the women's team as well. And I really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, graduated and coached for my old high school back in Seattle for a couple years. I was a head coach there and loved that. And took a few years off just to kind of see what else is out there in the world. And eventually got back into coaching at St. Francis in the fall of 2022 out in Central PA. And then I was worked, did 3 seasons there, and then got the job at Denison. So now here I am.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
That was a lot. Yeah, my bad.
That's
Sorry.
all right. That's all right. You gave the overline top view of everything. Now we're going to go back and delve into it a little bit. So, why Grinnell?
My older brother and older sister both went there. My sister is 7 years older than me. So I think it was just one of those things where she got in and she got a really nice scholarship. So she just went out to Iowa, really enjoyed it, had a transformative experience. And then my brother went there because they had a swim team and a water polo as well, and he played. My sister didn't,
Mhm.
um, and he really enjoyed it. And so I was like, oh, might as well apply. And I got in, and then as I was kind of like looking at colleges, I mean, Grinnell really is like a different university in a lot of different ways. It's kind of like if you know, you know school. So I just was like, all right, let's just do it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I went there and swam and played polo. And yeah, it was a great experience at Grinnell.
And majored in?
Economics.
Okay. And did you have any plans? I mean, we know where you've ended up, but did you
Yep.
have any other plans when you got your economics degree?
Not really. I think, I don't know. I graduated I mean, this kind of gets into the weeds here, but it was kind of I graduated and you realize like, oh, you can do whatever you want. There's a lot of freedom in that. So no, I had no real plan. I think going into Grinnell, it was like, oh, econ seems, practical. And I would just go back home to Seattle and kind of just get some job and then kind of go from there. And um, I think I was just like, as I got older, as I was saying, it's like you can really do whatever you want. And, um, so to answer your question, no, it just seemed practical at the
Hmm.
time.
Okay.
I still use it I think in coaching, right, from an analytics standpoint. You kind of see kind of the, like Moneyball stuff and baseball and all that. So it really, I mean, it does, it's not strictly economics, right? Like with the business and everything, but it really helps me think about coaching and what's efficient and kind of all that stuff. So
Okay. So you glossed over something, being, I guess the shy, quiet, unassuming guy that you probably aren't, but you are in this interview so far.
okay, sorry,
Um,
I love that.
you
That's
were you were Heartland Coach of the Year in 2015 among your other honors while
uh-huh.
you were at Grinnell. If you had to say, what was the biggest learning experience you had on the coaching side of things
At Grinnell or
at
just
Grinnell?
that's efficient practices, like and like how they flow into each other too, so it's not just have a bunch of drills that are somewhat disjointed and like it's like all right, what are you trying to get out of this practice and how do you make sure each thing that you do kind of builds into each other. uh and just I think leading college age students both on the men's side and the women's side and It's a little different when, I'd grown up teaching swim lessons and doing a little bit of water polo with with kids, but just you got to treat college age students differently. So yeah, just efficient practices and what it means to be in charge of college age students.
Okay, and what was it like being a player coach? Because that's not easy.
No, I mean it wasn't like ideal, obviously. Yeah, because it's hard, right? Like as a coach, and you're not like out of the water, right? You can kind of really see
Right.
things for what they are, and this player is this talented, but they're not doing this stuff well, and being able to put people in positions to succeed and how the team works as a whole. So. Yeah, I mean, like subbing during games, right? Like in-game adjustments were hard. I mean, we tried our best, but it was always like, you're wrapped into the game itself. So, um, and being able to like, obviously we had a lot of really talented players at Grinnell who played all throughout high school or beyond, like from California or from Michigan or from everywhere. So we were able to kind of help coach ourselves and build each other up. But obviously, it's nice to have someone from the outside who can really like hear your weaknesses, hear your strengths, and how do we really push, um, like how do we push yourself, which is again hard for myself to. I can do as much as I can, but it's harder. But I liked it. I mean, it was fun, but.
Hmm. Did you get any blowback from your teammates?
Oh,
Like who
100%.
who
Yeah.
the heck are you to tell me what to do?
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we were definitely. I mean, we won a lot of games, so it was obviously, we are
Winning
allowed,
glosses over a lot of things.
right? But I remember at my senior year at Nationals, we had this crazy game in the quarterfinals. We beat Tufts in this, comeback victory, and then a few hours later we had to play Middlebury in the semis, and that felt like a winnable game, but we just didn't come out with the win, and we were definitely like. Because I'm trying to coach, and other people are trying to coach too, and butt heads. I mean, nothing, those relationships are still
Yeah.
really, but it's how friends and teammates, and that's how it goes. So yeah.
Okay, so I want to follow the two stages in between Grinnell and getting to St. Francis. So
Mhm.
one stage involved coaching,
Yep.
and then another stage involved not coaching. So
Yep.
why don't you take us through those two things?
Yeah. So I kind of just, well, I graduated and I had the opportunity to travel. I didn't study abroad, so I kind of went into that summer after graduation. I'll work a little bit and like an actual job, and I'll help coach water polo and swimming, these vague ideas. And then the guy, one of my old coaches, the Stanford coach, he had been coaching my old high school for a couple of years. I ran to him at the gym and he's like, "Hey, do you want to coach Roosevelt?" And I was like, "Sure." I didn't know he meant head coach. So all of a sudden I'm like thrown into this role. And I was like, whoa. So it was really like trial by fire. Luckily there was a lot of talent on that team. So we got fourth at state my first year coaching, and then it got second. We almost pulled out like this mirror. We had a miracle win in the semis and almost pulled out the dub in the championship. Um, and then I was the assistant coach for the high school swim team as well, which was awesome. I loved being, loved working under that head coach, Chris Holland. And that was awesome. But obviously I'm in water polo now. So yeah, I did that for 2 years, and again, that was trial by fire, and I learned a lot too. I mean, as I was saying, kind of like how practices flow and everything.
Right?
I really tinkered that. I was able to, I think, find kind of my philosophy and what kind of what I'm all about, and was able to really start forming that. And um, I don't know, even just like what I was saying, like, all right, here's an offensive structure, here's a defensive structure, and game planning, and really kind of get into the weeds of water polo. So those were 2 awesome years. There's some really solid water polo in Washington as well, and some really high level coaches. So I was really forced to up my game. And then, sorry, was that I could go on to after I coached, but should I continue
Yeah,
or?
I mean, you
Okay.
actually you're so good, and our viewers should know what a good interviewee you are.
Okay, thank you.
But
I appreciate
you actually answered my next question, which was how were you gonna, what did you layer on top of your coaching experience from Grinnell when you're at high school. You answered that, so thank you very much. Saved me asking the
Okay,
question.
for
Okay,
sure.
let's
Yeah.
go on to this hiatus when you didn't coach.
Yeah. I, I was what 23 after my second year coaching. I I think I just didn't want to be like in Seattle my whole life coaching or just go straight in. I mean, as I was saying, after you graduate, it's like there's this, oh, you can go anywhere, right? You can do
Hmm.
anything. You can be, and we always tell people that, but when the reality hits and when you really like fully understand that, I mean, it's really exciting, but it kind of be overwhelming. So to that point, my friend who I lived with at Grinnell and played water polo with as well, also a great diver. He texted me, called me, I forget, but it was like, hey, we have an open room in our house in Madison, Wisconsin. I'd been there before, and rent was like $400 maybe. It was like dirt cheap, and so I was like, sure, why not? So that was only going to be like a temporary thing, and just maybe keep kind of like floating like a nomadic lifestyle a little bit, as much as you can in this day and age. And um, I ended up kind of falling in love with the place and ended up getting I worked at a preschool for a little bit, which was, because I just need to make money. But, I came at that from a coaching standpoint, as weird as that may sound, just like, what can you learn from, little kids, right? It's like coaching in its purest form, if you want to look at it like what that way. But I didn't want to work at preschool for too long, so I ended up getting a full-time job at a deli, which was, I mean, deli's underselling it. It's one of the best, I think, best sandwiches in Madison. I think they've gotten voted on that like 6, 7 years in a row, and also like a higher level. It's difficult to explain. Caseta kitchen encounter. Uh, but there was paying the bills. I loved my coworkers. I loved my bosses. I was excited to go to work every day, and just got different, different leadership styles too, right? Like my two bosses were like two great men, and I think they had their own culture and their own leadership style. So I learned a lot just being in that environment. And that really helps me to this day. I mean, even from like a salesman standpoint, right? And being able to talk to people and being able to like, all right, you're interacting with hundreds of people a day. And you have to do it well too. And so that, helps me on the recruiting trail, or just even be able to like, um,
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, that now get really, I get into the weeds, which I don't want to do, but
That's okay. But I want to know.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, you got break during the work day.
Yep.
You have access to all of these breads and all of these accoutrements to make your deli. What was your favorite you made for yourself?
Oh, I went gluten free there for a little bit prior to the pandemic, just because
Okay.
I don't know. So I was eating a lot of salads. Oh man, that's like bringing back memories. Yeah, we had a really good hot pepper mix, which we made. It was all everything in that store's house made, but focaccia bread, provolone cheese, prosciutto, arugula, um, balsamic sauce. Sorry, that I had to think
Hmm.
about that for a second. Then hot peppers. Usually that's a bit nice, clean sandwich. I
Clean and
think we call
healthy.
it eating healthy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
The focaccia bread may have been, I don't
Okay.
know,
Well, I
it's
mean,
healthy carbs.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No
So
ranch dressings for you.
no, I don't think we even had ranch. We had like
Mm,
a green sauce is called it.
okay.
The frat boys who would always come in because we were close to campus.
Oh, of course.
And they're always trying to, get our green sauce. There's
Hmm.
fights about not with me, but it's funny thinking back on that, man. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Great
Yep.
sandwich.
All right.
Still open. Still open. Still open. If you're
Excellent.
from
Well,
Madison, Wisconsin, man. Yeah.
glad make the name of it again. You might as well give another shout out to it.
Yeah. Caseta Kitchen Encounter, Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Make sure you're there if you're in Madison.
Yeah. Tell them to
All
the
right,
kids.
so you're
Yeah.
hanging around the deli. Your
Yeah.
your full time job. You got low rent. You're
Yeah.
living the life of the young nomad, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you get to St. Francis. How
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
why?
I mean, COVID hit. And I was just, I moved back home to Seattle, which it seemed like a good idea at the time. I think that was like a hasty decision in retrospect, but it is what it is. And kind of just worked some odd jobs as I was figuring out what I want to do. And during that, like the whole lockdowns, you're able to kind of reflect on like where have I been and where do I want to go. And I think that's when I think coaching started to really come back. And so, as I was back in Seattle, it's just kind of like, jobs open up. So I just kind of started to apply to things that made sense. And then eventually got the St. Francis job. A similar thing. I just applied. That was a whole process of it getting that. I mean, that took a while, but applied, interviewed, eventually got it. And then just took a leap of faith and uh, moved out to central Pennsylvania and worked at St. Francis. And, I'm thankful that Jay O'Neill took a chance on me.
Hmm.
And I'm really grateful for that. I mean, he didn't have to. I'd been out of the game for a while, didn't play at the varsity level. I didn't have all these like insane club accomplishments. So, I'm really glad, and I think, me and him did definitely, I think, did some special stuff at St. Francis. So super thankful for my time there and, all the players that came through and helped me grow as a coach. And, yeah, I mean, it's Central PA is an interesting place. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but,
I have
uh,
not.
no, yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those places no one's going in, no one's going out, but it was awesome, and obviously, led led me to the position I am now. So,
Okay, so when you got to St. Francis, and you've been out of the game for a while, but you
yep,
had some coaching experience,
yep,
what was your initial role, and then how did it develop over your time there?
yeah, yeah, it's my initial role. I don't think maybe recruiting was kind of the big thing. I got there in the fall, so all the summer stuff had ended. But one of my first weekends there, I was driving out to Pennsylvania State to kind of scout slash recruit. We got both of those players.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Trying to think, like, uh, yeah, I mean, it took a little bit, right? Like, I think for the first few weeks where it's just like, and it's fall season too, right? Because you have those weeks, and then you have the big break where you can
Hmm.
kind of reflect on everything. But Uh, yeah, I think initially just doing swim sets. I had a pretty solid swimming background, so I was able to kind of, uh, bring in some different swim sets, different ideas with that. And then I think just slowly over time, you I took more and more responsibility too. So I think I ended up doing a lot of work with kind of individual players. Maybe they're making a practice or kind of want to work on other skills. And so I started doing that more and taking responsibility off my head coach's plate too, just making his job easier. Um, so did a lot of that. And again, working with high level women's players definitely helped me a lot. Like, okay, I didn't play at a Division 1 level, even D3 level, right? So it's like, how am I going to help improve players who have more experience than me? And so I was able to figure out how to do that. And again, just over time, it just built. And it helped, I think, reorganize the offense a bit. Worked on a lot of culture stuff or just mindset stuff too.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, sorry, it's just all a bunch of different things. There wasn't
No,
like here's
that
here's your role,
that's
but
how we
it
get
just
to know
evolved
you.
over time. Yeah.
So, did you have a highlight while you were there?
Yeah, yeah. I think my first year when we beat Brown in the quarterfinals of the CW championships, which you were there announcing.
I
Um,
was.
I mean, that was an awesome, and that was a culmination of the whole season. That senior class too. Um, I think the year before I got there, they had beat Bucknell for the first time, and so the logical next step was like, we have to be an Ivy League. And we thought, if we took care of business in the regular season, we'll probably be in the 4 or 5 game with Brown. And we kind of knew that was our shot. We'd have 2 weeks to prepare. We could probably catch them off guard. Because they'll, anyway, yes, maybe cut this out. I was like, we kind of assumed Brown was going to be looking past us a little bit.
Hmm.
And like, all right, let's do it. And so that was awesome. I mean, I'd been there 1 year, so it was a little different for me, but I think for the seniors and for Jay too, I mean, seeing how happy they were was awesome.
Well, it was a major
Um,
swing. I mean,
oh
it's
yeah.
understandable they may have been looking past you a bit based on your regular season game against each other. I mean, it was a -10 that you guys put up that
Oh yeah.
day. So,
Yeah.
winning the game, I mean, it was I think it was somewhere around a 17 goal swing between the two games.
Oh yeah, I mean we got destroyed in both the
Hmm.
regular season games, and I was telling them that too. I was like, even okay, we lost by 10 or more, I forget, but it was like,
Hmm.
hey, I've watched the tape, like it's not as bad as maybe the score indicates, right? We just need to be
Hmm.
able to string together four quarter, possession by possession and just really do it. And just we're trying to make them believe. And again, they did it. They came out firing. They were, I think to quote you, they were electric.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, that was awesome. And then we gave Princeton a really good semifinal
Yes, you
game.
did.
And that was the year they beat Cal at NCAA's too.
Hmm.
So we couldn't pull out that dub, and then I think kind of ran out of gas against Michigan in the third
Third
place
place
game.
game. Yeah.
Yep. But again, it was awesome and also capable of like, hey, this is what we can do. And I think it really helped our program moving forward too. Like this is what, again, what we're capable of doing. And I know recruiting got better. And it's too bad with the whole D3 thing that happened, but because I feel like that team was really,
Hmm.
uh, the stage was being set for that team to really, really take a huge leap. But it's also tough too with our conference, right? You have Brown, Princeton, Harvard, and Michigan, and Bucknell's pretty good too.
Hmm.
So it's always like, as good as we can get, we're always running into this wall that is the
That's right.
CWPA. We
Hmm.
were getting more competitive, I think, in the regular season too, as the years went on. So it
Yep.
was just a matter of time until we broke through.
So you developed a good place at St. Francis,
Yeah.
and and it's natural. All assistant coaches aspire to be head coaches. So take us into how you discovered Denison and why you chose to go to Denison.
Yeah, I knew. I think I knew about Denison from when I was actually applying. It was a school my counselor had put on a list. Um, just because I wanted the small liberal arts college experience. I think just knowing about Grinnell from my siblings. But I didn't end up going just because I don't know if I would have been able to swim there, like, or swim here. And they didn't have any water polo options. And but so anyway, when the job opened up, I was like, okay, I want to make my way back to kind of a Division III liberal arts college, similar to Grinnell. Just that's what I knew and that's what I really
Hmm.
valued. Um, and when they posted the position, I was like, that's crazy. Like that's exactly what I want. I know
Hmm.
about Denison. I know what they're capable of. I know their swim team. They've won national title, 8 national titles between the
Hmm.
men's and women's.
Yep.
So they have aquatic excellence. The 50 meter, it's a
And
50
a
meter
beautiful
all-day
pool.
pool.
Yep.
Gorgeous. Yeah, really fast water too. Yeah, separate dive tank as well. So
Hmm.
a lot of deep water going on here. Yeah, so I just applied through their portal, did a quick phone interview. While I was driving across the country, I was actually going back to Central PA. So I was in a Spokane hotel thinking that. And then she's like, all right, like let's get you on campus. So during that drive, I stopped in Madison, stayed with a friend, did all my dry cleaning. I had a suit on me, luckily, and uh, drove down to Columbus and or to Granville actually and did the interview and that went well. I was really impressed with the athletic department and the school itself. I didn't realize too, I think I knew about their aquatics, but I mean, they won national titles in men's tennis last year. And I mean, a ton of other sports are operating at a really high level. Our women's basketball team is in, I want to say the Final Four this weekend for D3. Baseball's ranked number one. Women's lacrosse is doing well. A lot of other sports are doing really, really well. So it's awesome. I mean, I know kind of what yeah, like the potential's here for a national championship level program for water polo. So it's going to take some time, but the possibility is here.
Well, it's certainly wonderful to get into a culture of excellence in the athletic department for sure. So,
100%.
uh, tell us about the fact that no program, now there's a program. what's happening this year, what's happening going forward, and how are you going to navigate the course?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so this year's just doing club, right? And just, water polo is a game where there's a lot to do before you have to play a game. So, just recruiting on campus, seeing who's interested in when it goes varsity and just developing the players here. And just a lot of, recruiting, right? Recruiting for the class of 2026 and beyond. So, I think just setting the stage, getting the word out. I think when as the spring goes on, the summer, obviously, I'll be hitting the road a lot for recruiting. Making sure the infrastructure is set up. Now that swimming's at nationals right now, actually, but I think next week with the aquatics director, we'll see like, all right, what's the course setup? What's that look like? There are lane lines here, so I'm going to see what I can set up with kind of our goals and everything. So again, just setting the stage up, what's that look like, getting the word out, making connections with the kind of surrounding area, and I don't know, I'm just slowly building, waiting for next year, right? Like setting the stage for next spring, which will be our first varsity season.
Well, and next varsity season, obviously, you need a recruiting class for that varsity
Yep.
season. You just completed one, so without giving away anything private
Yep.
you don't want to give out, but tell us in general how to go.
Recruiting?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, went well. I got a late start in late September,
Hmm.
so I did what I could. I went to a bunch, a few Ohio tournaments that were going on. Went to Pennsylvania, went to California. I did as much as I could in kind of that short window, and good. I have a couple commits now, and I got a few more in the pipeline. So, and some high quality players too. So,
Good.
um, yeah, I'm excited. I can't get, I can't, it's still ongoing.
Yep, yep.
But I'm
No, no,
excited.
no problem. That's why I
Yeah.
left it open-ended. Uh, Following that up though for next year, when you go varsity, have you got St. Francis's date for the game circled on your calendar?
Schedule hasn't been put out.
Okay.
But no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be, uh, no, it won't be intense, and it'll, again, with them moving from Division 1 to Division 3, a
Hmm.
lot of those players, I think there'll be max one player that I coached.
Okay.
So it'll be a completely different team. But I know Jay's coaching style. I know his
Yep.
tendencies, and he probably knows a little bit about
As
what
does
I
he yours,
do.
yes.
100%. So I think there'll be good competitive games as the years go on. But I think, especially that first year, I'm just kind of like, hey, making sure we get through the season, and so no revenge games yet. And
No.
I ended on a good note too, and
Hey, hey, good
all
rivalries are good as long as they're friendly rivalries. I mean, that's my view
100.
on everything. And, play the game intensely and then afterwards, have a handshake and a hug and
Exactly.
go have a beverage together. So, one last question, nothing to do with water polo, but who is Alex Paul and why are you interested in him?
Alex Paul is one half of the Chain Smokers, which are
Mm.
a huge EDM slash pop band.
Hmm.
I tried. Al, you've probably heard their music,
I
unless
have.
you've. Okay, yeah. Closer was huge.
Yep, yep.
Paris, all that stuff. So I've known about them since they were like making indie remixes, and posting on the blog. So honestly, seeing their rise was incredible. Alex Paul is very active on LinkedIn because I think he runs a venture like an angel investing
Okay.
firm or something. So he posts a ton. So I always like not always, but I'll comment or react to it just because it's like the chain smokers guy.
Well,
So
I think
yeah,
you got to write to them and get them to come out and have them do a little mini concert at your first game as a varsity team.
for sure. Yeah, we'll see if I can afford it. I'll work on
Afford it.
the
You're his big
fundraising.
fan. He should be doing it for gratis.
Yeah, maybe I can work with the Denison student,
Yes.
their concert fund if they have one,
Uh-huh.
and see if we can maybe do that's. Sorry, Alex Paul thinks crazy. That's
Anyway,
funny.
well, listen, it's been
Yeah,
great. Thank you so much. I mean,
thank
for
you.
everybody to know, Tim Sherwood, as he mentioned, was at Grinnell College. He was Heartland Coach of the Year in 2015. He's also four-time first-team All-Conference and three times the conference MVP. A lot of experience in water polo. He's traveled the road. and he's ready to get going with Denison University and their new varsity program, which will go into effect in a year. Thanks again, Tim.
All right, thank you.